Wake up in the morning, I don't got no worries, cause it's a beautiful day. So many wonder how long we will be here. Tell them that we're here to stay. Hey yo, let's get it. Boss Talk straight from the city with true heart. We got champs in the making and champs that are root them all. Got that all sport, optimal prime, ready to dominate. The hottest conversations uncensored, it's the time and place. Boss Talks, keep it uncensored, it's all hard. You could be from all walks, come tune in to Boss Talks. Got that all sport, optimal prime, ready to dominate. Hottest conversations uncensored, it's the time and place. Boss Talk.
Saying, welcome to Boss Talk Uncensored, inaugural episode. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Tino Amaya, one of the hosts, along with my good friend,
Jeff Copi.
Right? And so Boss Talk Uncensored is brought to you by
Monroe Nutrition. We are Monroe.
And then, of course, Amaya's Fresh Mexican Grill. We try to keep it fresh.
Yeah,
as Jeff says, on the grill, right? We try to keep it
Yeah.
fresh. And then, of course, Tino Amaya's State Farm Insurance Agency. Man, we've been protecting people for over 100 years, helping people recover from the unexpected. And today, man, I'm excited. We've got a young, hungry entrepreneur, Willie Whitaker, a.k.a. Hooter. We're going to talk about that nickname in a minute.
All right. Yes.
But he is top 1% in the nutrition field, nutrition area. And, man, I can't wait. At 26 years old, guy's crushing it. He's killing it. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's about recognizing people that are, on that level, on the rise, doing everything the right way. And it's our opportunity to kind of peel back the layers, get into the meat, and figure out, okay, you're doing it at your level. How can we do it at our level? So, Willie, talk to me. Hooter, talk to us, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
26 years old, from Cleveland, Ohio. Coming from that area, there's not much of a opportunity. There's a few options for people in that community, and I was fortunate enough to have a good enough upbringing to where my parents put themselves in position to put me in position, and I was able to adapt to different communities, different cultures, and that allowed me to obtain the knowledge to get to where I'm at today. So like you said, I am 26 years old right now. We hit the top 1% at 23 years old, so 3 years ago.
For you guys that don't know, he just looked at me because I made a comment about being 25.
and it's because they're in the same, field.
Yes.
They're definitely in the same, same genre, same area. And so,
That's like when you make a shot in someone's face and stare them down.
Right.
That's what that was. Okay.
It was like Seth Curry putting on that championship ring in front of LeBron the other day. I know you saw that.
It's tough because me and Tino are big LeBron fans. We believe he's the GOAT.
Stop.
Anyways.
Well, it's more like a LeBron and Kobe thing because, to be honest, like it's like friendly competition.
Yes. Yes.
Where I'm at right now in my business, Jeff had actually came up to Cleveland, like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
2-hour drive, same as this one, and he motivated me. Like he actually shed light on me and allowed me to get from a uncomfortable space and just realize that I still got value to add, and just seeing the hunger in him just lit something up in me too. So it's the friendly competition for sure.
You know what? In a second ago, you said something that really resonated with me. You said you came from Cleveland and there's not a lot of opportunity there, but your parents put you in a position where, they kind of laid a foundation for you to have opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. What was it though in you that motivated you to say, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. I know I want to be an entrepreneur, and this is what I want to do.
So actually, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I was playing football in college. I had a full-ride scholarship to play football, and I didn't take advantage of the opportunity enough because I got kicked out of school twice. And like I said, my schooling was paid for. So it was a moment to where I had to look at myself and say, are you going to continue to live in this space of declining God's, opportunities, or are you going to take advantage of it? So it just so happened that the summer when we going back into school the second time, my best friend started doing Herbalife, and he said, that I have opportunity now for us to change our lives. And at that moment, I was facing like a drug charge. So the channeling from God was more so like, hey, like I'm gonna give you one more chance. you know,
Yeah.
and if you don't take this opportunity in the right way, I couldn't see beyond that. So, you know, I took this business opportunity the same way I took any other opportunity that was given when it came to, you know, selling anything. And a lot of people don't really know that, you know, what I went through in that time period. But it was just me understanding that, like, I'm not going to continue to just throw away God's blessings anymore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, so.
Dude, that's deep. And you know what? I don't think a lot of people understand, you know, even like me, right? I didn't come from an affluent background. You know, my parents were migrants. I mean, you know, uneducated. And so our opportunities came. Obviously, my dad worked hard, gave open doors for us. I mean, whether they were small or not. But hearing you say, man, you had this door and then it closed. Then you had this door and it closed. But yet, because you stayed faithful, there was yet one more opportunity that you easily could have thrown away. So what was like the turning point or the spark for you in that moment to say, okay, I'm going to jump on this and I'm going to do it and I'm going to run with it?
I would just say the feeling, like you ever get a feeling where you feel like something is right for you, and it's like, man, like this is too good to be true, and it's too perfect of timing. It was literally perfect timing, and that's, like I said, I knew it was God's blessing because it just felt too good.
Yeah,
it was like when you got that opportunity to go to the league, and it's like, man, like I literally had that feeling where I seen someone making, you know, $20,000, and I'm like, from selling Herbalife, from selling shakes and teas, you know, and I'm just getting off a drug charge from, you know, selling that, and I'm just like, I can do something to make someone's life better and progress someone's life. So I think that, like I said, it was just a total channeling of like the blessing and the energy from God, and I'm like, this is it, like it's perfect timing.
So what was it like? What was it like at home when you kind of came back and said, "All right, this is the direction I'm going to go in now." What was that like?
It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all because, like I said, Herbalife back then, 6 years ago, it wasn't the cool thing to do, and nobody knew about it. So, like, in my mind, I knew I had to do my best to invite people into my world and my mind. Like, my parents, they were like, it was probably one of the first times that I cried in a long time. I presented the opportunity, told them I was excited too. I was so excited, man. I'm like, I got this new opportunity. I'm about to work in a nutrition club and build my Herbalife business. And my parents were just like, nah, like that's not it. You know, you got to go work a job at Chase or like, you know, something else. And I had the job at Chase. So it was like, I'm going to take this job at Chase Bank, or I'm going to, you know, bet on myself and take this opportunity. And, you know, it was that moment where I did have support from some of my mentors, some of the people who were higher up in the business. And they said, you know, we had the same thing happen to us. So it was the confirmation, you know, because like I said, man, nobody believed in me at first.
Yeah.
Nobody at all.
You know what? I'm gonna say this real quick, right?
Actually, one person did believe in me. My daughter's mom believed in me for sure.
Okay.
So let me say that because I don't want to fail to say that.
Right.
That was she was a big support for me when I first started Herbalife for sure.
So I started out in college, secondary education English. All right. I was going to be an English teacher. A lot of people don't know that. I love reading. I love English. I love literature. I love the English language, period. I think it's amazing. But I'm not a good student.
Same.
And I was struggling. I'm not a test taker. I can't take tests to save my life, right?
Same.
So I go to my dad. I had this opportunity to go to culinary school. I go to my dad and I said, Pop, and again, my dad, uneducated, excited. I was the first one, I think second one actually, in our entire family to go to college. So my dad was like over the moon. Got my associate's degree, and I'm like, Dad, I can't do this. I'm going to actually switch gears. I'm going to culinary school. I'll never forget my dad saying, so you're going to be broke for the rest of your life?
Yep.
Like, that's it? Like, you're just going to be broke forever? And I was like, man, wow. 30 years later, my dad's like, man, you did all right.
Right.
This cooking, you might do something with this cooking thing. You might be okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Our journeys are very aligned. Like my dad said the same exact thing, and it hurt me to my core because my father always believed in me. He always gave me like that, like I got you.
Same.
There's one time, and then I knew. That's when I knew though that this was it, because it was like, I'm a grown man now. My daughter was 1 year old at the time, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a grown man. I don't need no confirmation from anybody.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at that point, it was like, yo, like You got it. You can do it. So, like I said, when I came back home, bro, because I wasn't a good test taker, so I got kicked out of school the first time.
Yeah.
For my grades, and I came back home. And I had my daughter that year, and it was humiliating because when you are, you know, the person that everybody believes in your town, and they think you're going to make it, and you come home. I've never been humiliated like that before, and then it happened again. And
so how do you remove ego at that point? Because that's ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your entire football career, probably from grade school all the way through high school,
Yep.
you were like the man, right? Now you're not. So how do you get over that, like kind of like almost like smashing of the ego in that sense, right? What was it like trying to get over that aspect of it before you moved on to this new venture?
Because you ever been stripped away from something you love and then you appreciate it more?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then I didn't know anything about ego at the time, but that's when I met ego for the first. Like my ego really face to face in the mirror was when football was stripped away from me, and then my daughter was in the process of being born too. You know, well, she was already born, but it was just like.
So you kind of got hit with everything all at once.
Yeah, all at once. All at once, man. All at once.
That's bars, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
man.
real.
That's deep. That is. That's real, man. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the business. So now you're in the Herbalife business. You're at a shop. You're putting things. So how did you actually get started from? Did you start out as just like helping somebody in a shop and building your own business before you had your own, or how did that work?
So I had an opportunity to utilize nutrition cafe when I first started, but I didn't. I had started with $0. You know, like literally, I started with like my pockets were dead empty. So I had to, you know, get some support to even start my Herbalife business. And I wasn't working in the shop, but I was utilizing the shop to build my business. So what I would do was bring people into the nutrition club and, you know, offer the different products to people and, you know, use that to build my business. And then what happened was people started to see the value that I was adding because I was actually bringing people to the shop without me working in the shop. I just was utilizing it. So we then built out the shop again and revamped it. And then I had a spot on bar because I was putting in that work before the opportunity was presented. So then I worked out of that shop for about a year and a half. And then I opened up a shop in my hometown too, you know, because I just knew I had that feeling like if I can do it in my hometown, it could people, I had that feeling to where it's like, when you lose that championship and then you go back and then you win it, that was that feeling for me because it's like I lost big time.
Yeah.
Like
personally.
when LeBron was down 3-1 and came back against the Warriors.
Yep, that was that feeling.
That feeling.
And then I got that. And then I got that recognition from my parents, from my teachers, from my coaches. You know what I mean? So like it just came full circle, man. That's why I'm so grateful for this opportunity. For real, like Herbalife really is like that, and people don't get it.
So what's, you know, when you talk about it, what's one thing about Herbalife, the venture itself, that you think people are not fully understanding? I mean, what's one thing that you could say like, man, this has been just completely misconstrued?
I would just say people aren't open in general.
Okay.
You know, like I could put $1 million on the table right here, and you'd be like, and I'd be like, you know, grab 1,000, and you'd be like, you know, and I'm just like, yo, just take 1,000. But like, it's just like people, like that's how people operate.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that where you just got to see it to believe it. And for me, it only took for my best friend to do the opportunity for me to believe in him and see him becoming more positive, because Herbalife is really, the products are the foundation, but I fell in love with who I was becoming.
Wow.
And I seen how my best friend was, because we come from a negative environment, negative neighborhood, Section 8 housing. So it's like we seeing negativity all day.
Yeah. And
until you are exposed to something, and like I said, you got to see it to believe it. And when you are exposed to something good, like you don't want to leave it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think people just aren't exposing it enough.
Yeah.
And that's where my value came in the picture, because I was exposing Herbalife so much, and I was doing it in a cool way.
Right.
So it allowed people to, you know, to grasp onto it.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So one piece of advice, what would you say to somebody that, like, maybe, again, you got a guy like Jeff. So Jeff, how did you end up meeting up with Hooter, which we got to talk about that nickname in a minute, but how did you end up meeting up with Hooter? What was that where did that connection come in?
Actually, you know,
and hold on real quick. I got another little shout out to our main sponsor, right? Monroe Nutrition. I'm drinking, what do they call this? The Zoom Diggity?
The ziggity booming.
The ziggity booming. We're ziggity booming right now. That's right. Ziggity booming. They do it different. They do it right. They're not just dropping a tablet in the bottom and waiting for it to dissolve. Jeff goes the extra mile. Him and his guy, Steph. Who else is down there with
Jocelyn, Kim, Demetrius.
Yeah, man. They do it right. They crush them up. They shake them up. I mean, this is like a craft cocktail right here. Without the alcohol, but this is like a craft cocktail right here. These guys do it right. I also want to send a quick shout out to our guys, Brain Jerk Entertainment. Man, I'll tell you what, Josh, Ryan, his whole crew, they've been tremendous doing the editing and things like that for us. So I'm about to do my Zoom bit. What's
Ziggity booming.
Ziggity booming. I'm about to ziggity boom.
Ziggity
All right.
boomer.
Shout out Beyond the Tracks.
Beyond the Tracks. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. So how did you guys hook up?
Oh, definitely. So really, for me is I seen his whole journey. So I was in Herbalife. I came in Herbalife when I was 18.
Okay.
Right? So I watched him come into the business and shoot up the marketing plan and invite all these people and then become leaders growing leaders. And they're like, and it just, there was a lot of people that I wasn't relating to. And I watched him come on the scene and I could relate to him instantly. And so I don't even know if a year ago he knew my name really, but you know, I became, you know, I started getting up in the mornings and becoming and doing my personal development and, you know, becoming consistent at the shop and showing up to the events and contributing, you know, because I knew that I would attract the friendship, right? Because when you get somebody that's in the position of a Tino Amaya or a Willie Whitaker, you guys aren't necessarily just going to befriend anybody. You might be nice to people, but to call someone your friend, they got to show some type of value,
Yeah, 100%.
right?
100%.
So I said, how can I add value to his life in some way so that I can learn from him and call him my friend and he can call me his friend. So he was down here for an event. It's our biggest event in North America.
Extravaganza.
So we always go crazy in Herbalife about extravaganza because we have all the leaders in the room and there's about 35,000 people in the room.
Wow.
We were just at Ford Field. And so anyways, I knew he was coming down, hit him up. I was like, bro, like we did a flag football thing before. I was like, let me pick you up. What do you need? Do you need a tea? Do you need a shake? Like, what do you need? Let me add value to your life and just show you that I'm not coming to take. Like,
Right.
I really want to help you and learn from you. And, it just kind of, we stayed in contact and everything. I came down there, learned from his fit camp, which we're going to ramp that up here in this winter season. And, and that's the thing I want to tell people is don't be so prideful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like throw your pride and ego out the window so you can become better and become what you want and learn from those people that are doing exactly what you want.
Serving leadership.
Yeah.
Man, nobody ever made that drive before. Like that alone, man, just showed me what type of person you are. And like,
Yeah.
bro, like,
Thank you.
people don't
Thank
got that. People don't have it. That's special, bro. For
Thank
real.
you.
Serving leadership.
You know what? I completely agree with that. You rarely hear of people driving 20 minutes. You hear people complain about it. Like, well,
Right.
man, I got to go across town. Like,
Yeah.
man, okay, what's this about? You know what I mean? And here you were. So at that time, was he more of like, you were like watching his numbers, you're like, man, this dude's on it, I want to figure out what he's doing? Or was it just, I just want part of this energy. I want to see what this energy is.
Yeah, a little bit of both, but really it's like, you know how they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with?
100%.
So that's what I just want to be around people that have good purpose, peace, and I mean, he's probably within a year of my age and he did it, 3 years ago.
Right.
So it's like, what is he doing? But mostly it's like, it's not just that. It's just you want those people to call a friend.
Right, right.
You know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
Right. Absolutely.
So
100%. Absolutely.
that's really what it was, even if I got nothing out of it as far as didn't get to spend no time with like him personally, and I did, which was great, man. He brought me to a spot after, answered, a bunch of questions I had, gave me a lot of clarity, and just really brought that, like, bro, you got this out of me, you know?
Right,
So
right.
it was pretty cool.
Don't waste it.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, especially when you get a chance to sit down with somebody, and that's, like I told Jeff, I said, man, I got a million questions. I got things written down over here because it's not very often, you know, I tease him all the time. I say, I'm like the old lion, right? I've been an entrepreneur now for over 20 years. I've been self-employed for over 20 years. And when I tell people that, oh, thank you. When I tell people I've done it quietly, Jeff will tell you I'm a blue collar entrepreneur.
This
That's
boy
what I
walked
tell
into
people.
the club the first day. My bad, not to cut you
No,
off.
you're good.
Walked into the shop the first day we were open, right? I was like, hey, how you doing? Welcome to Monroe Nutrition. And he was like, hey, how you doing? You know, I shook his hand. He pulled up in the Jeep, and I was like, what do you do? And he was like, oh, I'm just a line cook down at Amaya's.
I make tacos.
Right. And I'm like, okay, that's what's up. He was like, you mind if I put you on my live? I'm like, yeah, go ahead, you know. We had probably within a 2-day span at least 40 people that came in just from his live video. And I was like, he ain't just a line cook. And I figured it out. Someone told me. And when I seen him, I was like, yeah, you liar.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
Like,
please.
What made you want to do that, as like you being older into, you know, entrepreneurship, you still giving back to the younger people? Like, what? Because that's like that's where you want to be at in life, where you can continue to give back and reach your hand out and you know, reach to the younger people.
You know what? It's a great question, man. One that I don't get asked very often. I was blessed. I had a mentor when I was a young chef coming up. And one of the things that he always said was, as chefs, and this was just being a chef, but it translated into my personal life as well. He said, you know, it's our job never to hold anyone back. It's our job to train them to move up and on. And, I didn't quite understand it until I took his job.
Right.
And he actually told me before I took his job, he was like, man, you're getting good. He's like, you know what? He's like, you're going to replace me. I'm going to be working for you one day. And I started laughing. Whatever. We were opening restaurants together. Well, I had kind of pieced off with another crew. I opened a few restaurants. I was always ahead of schedule, blah, blah, blah. I go back to Texas. When I went back, I got a promotion. And my boss says, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, who's my crew? I want to know who my team was because I was excited. I want to meet everybody. And he was like, well, this chef, and this is going to be basically your executive sous chef. And I went, oh, wow. I mean, that was like my original mentor. That was the guy that kind of got me started. And
wow.
I just thought, holy cow, it really, but the relationship that we had together and the things that I learned from him, because he was a guy that rolled his sleeves up and washed dishes. Mm-hmm. He was a guy that when the line cooks were struggling, he didn't just stay on Expo and yell and scream. He would like literally run around and be like, hey man, like move, everybody shift, everybody do this. Like I'm here, you're there, and he cooked. And one day we were talking and I asked him, I said, Mike, why do you you jump in and cook, you do dishes. He's like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm just a cook.
Yeah.
The title doesn't mean anything to me. At the end of the day, I'm just a cook just like they are.
Right. Got you.
And it just stuck with me, and then my parents, my upbringing, if you talk to my mom, you talk to my dad, I mean, my dad's he's got a big personality. My mom is, man, she's a saint. My mom she'll cook for you. This is a true story. All right. I just had a lady reach out to me on Facebook because her aunt lives next door to my parents. And she has 3 little kids that are constantly at my mom's house because my mom's constantly feeding these kids like they're stray cats or something. She even buys snacks for them and keep, specifically for this one little boy, Cullen, keeps snacks in the cupboard. Those are my parents. That's how they are. So growing up, man, we were just, you talk about servant leaders. That's how my parents were. And that's who I am. And so I believe when I'm gone, I'm limited, right? I'm on the other side of the hill. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've got probably 10 more years left, and then I'm not going to be able to cook anymore. I'm not going to be able to run like I do. So as I start coming down the hill, what am I leaving behind? And who am I bringing along with me? And I think is my job as an entrepreneur that's been around this long, just like as a cook, just like as a chef, just like anything, it's my job to leave those nuggets for the guys that are coming up behind me. Man, I'll tell you all the pitfalls. I'll tell you all the failures. people see the 3 successful businesses I have. What they miss are the 8 that I closed down.
Right.
They don't see those.
That's a gem.
They don't
It is.
see the 5 times I almost went bankrupt.
Yeah.
What they see is, man, this guy's been in business for over 20 years and he's such a successful guy. You see the top of that, you see that meme where it's the iceberg and everyone sees the tip of the iceberg. They never see all the muck and the shit, pardon my language, that you have to get through.
The foundation that helped build you.
And I was just going to say that, man, because I'm a foundation guy. It's one thing I talk to Jeff about all the time is making sure you have a solid foundation. You know, you have to know where you can come back to, right?
I'm not gonna lie. That's something that that's implemented in my brain from me, foundation.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a foundation, you don't have nothing. Like
Right.
literally anything.
I've seen so many trees and so many businesses, and I'll tell you, man, even COVID was a blessing and a curse. If you look up the statistic when COVID hit, since World War II, the largest number of businesses registered in our nation's history during COVID, because everyone started a business.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But if you look at from 21 until now, the largest number that have closed down, right? So those same people that started, and that's why like a guy like you, I'm impressed. I mean, I am, because, you know, I didn't skyrocket like that. Man, it took me 20 years to get here. You know, you're on a path where you've kind of like, and I tell this to, whenever I give talks about, I say, look, there are blue collar entrepreneurs. That's me. I'm a guy that, I don't have millions in the bank. I've lived a successful life. I've traveled. I live part-time in LA and here. I'm getting ready to go back to LA here in about another week. I have successful businesses. My kids are taken care of. But then I look at a guy like you and I said, man, like you're just like on that plateau, right? You're just like on the skyrocketing. You know what I mean? And so I get excited. I'm like, man, how did this guy do it? Like, what's going on? I want to dig in and get some of these nuggets out, So let's get back to you because you're the reason why we're here.
Man, see, I like coming and learning myself. Even if I'm giving value, I like to learn from whoever. So yeah, thank you for that, for sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you for asking the question. So when you started, though, in Herbalife, didn't have a lot of support. You started with, like, pennies.
Yeah.
So when did you start to turn the corner and see your business, your personal, like the team you were building, and then how did you get the people to kind of buy into what your vision was?
People say that people only buy into you, right? That's part of the question you asked. So I had to like sit down myself and ask myself, what value can I bring to me? Like, what value do I have to add, and what value can I give to my organization, to the company, and then ultimately the world? What value can I bring? And when I sit back and I was going through the success and the progression, I was asking myself, how did this happen? And it only happened because I was adding value constantly.
Yes.
Constantly adding value, like nonstop, man. And the world is only going to give you that back. So I started to, get the fog uncleared because I was able to attract certain things. I was able to like work my hand and, learn something different that I didn't know before and obtain a group of people. Like the way that I am today, if you ask people, I'm not the same person, right? And a lot of people, you look back and you're like, man, like this person, he the same person, he doing the same things, right? So, I mean, honestly, man, I really believe the value that you can add to anything is what you will receive.
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's the main answer I can give. Is just like,
so I
don't
have
linger.
This book that I'm going to suggest to you if you've never read it. It's called "Know What You Are For." It's like this big, right? But in the book, that's one of the things that I'm a book reader. Jeff and I talk about all the time. I'm like, man, I'm a book reader. If you're not a book reader, get it on Audible or whatever and listen to it on a drive. It's super quick. It's super easy. But the one thing that the author talks about is exactly what you just said, bringing value to the world around you, but knowing what you're for, right? I mean, knowing that you're not just, because here's the thing that really, and I'm gonna make this statement, and it's gonna probably ruffle a few feathers. I see a lot of guys. Again, I just got just said during COVID, record number of people registered businesses, right? But for what purpose? You know what I mean? Oftentimes they were scared. When you talk to people, I was scared. I got laid off. I didn't know blah blah blah. And so I was just going to take it into my own hands. Money. Everybody wants money, right? But oftentimes those guys just fade, man.
Yep.
They start. It's a spark, and they crash and burn. And we've seen it even here locally. Guys that just took off. They start off flash. I call them flash in the pan, lightning bolt. And then there's no thunder, there's no rumble, there's nothing extra that comes with it.
Right.
So as you were realizing you're building value and you're doing all this, what were you for though at that time? And what are you for now? I know that's a tough one.
It is. I was for legacy. I think legacy.
Nice.
I know legacy.
Yes.
So, if I meet somebody off the street and I can have like a 5-minute conversation with you, I'm adding value and I'm looking and I'm listening to you to see, like I'm clairvoyant. I got this bracelet, I think. And the word clairvoyant is where like I could see Jeff and it's like, I already know what you're going to do and I know what you're capable of doing. So I'm like, yo, if you got a kid or you got your mom, it's like, I want you to have this legacy so bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want things so bad for other people more than they want it for themselves. So I'm all for legacy, man, because I know what this life, I know what the journey of life really is meant for.
Yeah.
Like it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's not about me. And once I got rid of that, before when I was playing football, it was about me.
Yep.
It was about, what and I was so unclear, but then I started to become more clear because of the things I was listening to, the people I was around, right? And I understood. I started to, now I feel like I got it figured out. Like I really do at a young age. Like legacy and understanding what the journey of life really is, and it's really about how much you can obtain, how many assets you can obtain by becoming valuable to the marketplace and the world, and then what you can leave for your children. Or
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
That's bars.
Dude, you know what? I told Jeff, I said, look, here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen. During the editing process, we're going to sit back and we're going to listen to all this because I want to extract like every nugget. Dude, you're just dropping it, man.
You are.
Thank you.
This is like, wow. For an inaugural podcast, guys, please. This is the kind of stuff we want to have.
What's inaugural mean? You keep saying that.
Inaugural? First one.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know.
Yeah,
My
my vocab ain't up, so I'm just going along with them.
I told you. I was an English major, man.
I like that.
Can't help it. That's funny. So let me ask you this. So now you're getting into it. You're building your team. You're starting to see some growth. You're bringing value to people. Who do you think you could point to that you could say, well, this was my probably the best professional mentor I had at that time? And then who would you credit today? And is it the same person?
To what aspect?
Like for helping you kind of get on the path that you were on at that time.
My daughter.
Ooh.
Like
wow.
Yep, Ari Renee Whitaker, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, my biggest accountability partner.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's for real.
That gave me chills.
Just
Holy
following him on Instagram and being his friend and everything, and going there to his shop and everything, to his cafe, you guys call him. His daughter has so much character, and you can tell because it's what happens at home.
Yes.
And you can tell it's not just for Instagram. Like, he's actually a present, real dad.
100%.
That's one of the things that really attracted me to, wanting to come learn from you, is because you make me want to be a girl dad, present he is.
No, you don't, Jeff.
No, okay.
I have
I'm 1-on-1 right now. I'm 1-on-1 right now.
If you got an option, man, boy, dad, for sure.
Yeah.
But like it's not just for Instagram. And the only reason why it is for Instagram is for people to see the example.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what I mean by like what I'm for is I'm for the legacy.
Yes.
So if I can continuously show people like this is what you get to do with your daughter, you get to wake up and do her hair in the morning.
Yes.
Right. Even if you wake up late, you might wake up a little bit late. You got to hurry up, but it's like I'm still taking the time And every morning I'm showing someone, you got to do your daughter's hair before you take her
Yes.
to school. You got to get her dressed. You got to play some good music in the car to make sure she's happy going to school.
Man.
No matter how you're feeling, no matter no matter how you feeling inside about what's going on in this day or what it
Yes.
might bring, but
Listen, listen. You've got to meet my daughter, my big girl.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys come down to the
We are.
restaurant.
We're gonna
after
come
this.
down.
All right, you got to
Yeah.
come down.
Can't wait, man.
Listen. I'm gonna introduce you. Yeah, I'll be cooking. I'm gonna strap on an apron after this. Put my cape on.
Bless.
But you have to meet my daughter. What you're saying. This is advice I give every. How old's your daughter?
She'll be 7 on Halloween.
Okay. This is advice I give every new parent. Yeah, I have five children, beautiful, beautiful children, all very successful in their own right. And everyone always asks me, they always say, well, how? You know, because if you meet any of my children, they're all very well spoken. They're all very polite. They're all they're just good, genuine people in general, right? And so first and foremost, I said, you know what? When I was raising my kids, I was actually raising my best friends. I don't like hanging out with people that are pretentious. I don't like hanging out with people that have ego. I like hanging out with people that are humble. They're quiet. You know, they like to have genuine, good fun. And I thought, man, if I want to raise my kids, those are the type of children, adults, human beings that I want to raise. I want to raise people that, you know, are compassionate and passionate about things and about life. So when you meet my daughter, you'll see that right away. You'll just see her energy, her light. But what you're saying, I gave a talk at the high school not too long ago, and all these kids there, it's in their entrepreneur class, young entrepreneurs class. And I asked all the kids, I said, well, why do you want to become an entrepreneur? Why do you want to be a business owner? And kids are raising their hand, and right away, the number one thing is what?
Make a lot of money.
Make a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? Business owners make a lot of money. And I said,
Right.
okay. I went around, and everybody was giving their answer. And then one of the kids said, well, Mr. Amaya, why did you become an entrepreneur? Why did you become a business owner? And I said, because I wanted time.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted time.
Options. Yeah.
My dad worked like a dog. We rarely saw him except for one day a week. Usually Sunday, we went to church, came home, had lunch. My pops went to bed. You know, love him to pieces. But he just wasn't present. As a matter of fact, there's a funny story. I played baseball my whole growing up, all through high school till my junior year. And when I was getting married, my dad was like, you know what? I think one of you guys played sports, didn't you? Right? This is a true story, right? I never missed a field trip. Being an entrepreneur, that's what I got out of it. Never missed a field trip for any of my kids. Never missed a lunch at school, drop off, pick up, reading days. So I love hearing what you're saying, man. It
That's
just
real.
struck a chord with me. I love that.
And I'm not perfect. I miss some days. Like
Yeah,
I definitely miss some
100%,
days. You know what I mean?
100%.
But like you said though, the legacy, that's what we're working for, because you went through something and you know how that felt.
Yes.
So now you're able to do it in a different way, and that's what we're working for. Like that's what it's for.
Yeah, man.
And I figured that out at an early age, you know.
Yeah. So are you a reader?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Now, do you listen to podcasts, anything like that?
Yep.
Big
Definitely.
podcast guy.
Yeah.
All right. So if I'm looking to become an entrepreneur, I'm looking to like get my start. One podcast that you think, man, this is something you need to listen to that would actually, aside from this one, that's getting ready to jump.
Yeah.
Aside from this one, what's a good podcast you would recommend?
Jay Shetty for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to be able to connect with yourself before you can connect with anything else.
Yeah.
Because if you can create that foundation like we're talking about, and you can be attentive to your life and your heart and your mind, then you will be able to give that energy and that clarity to anything else in your life. So I feel like the Jay Shetty podcast,
Yeah.
no brainer for sure, especially the ones with Big Sean. That's just me personally.
Promise you, I was just gonna say that's
Number one.
Man, I got to listen to it
the
now.
one with Big
Oh,
Sean.
man.
He has 2 parts, right?
Okay.
It's so I've listened to it probably 5 times, both.
Yeah.
And just fire. It
Will
really
Smith too. Will Smith got a good one with him.
Okay.
But he did a part 2 with Big Sean because the views were going so viral
Yeah,
that
you
he had
got
to
to.
bring him back for a part
Yeah.
2. So
I'm thinking, even though this is the inaugural first one, I'm thinking we're probably going to have to do a part 2.
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
You know, I mean, we barely scratched the surface. I mean, I want to get into marketing. I want
Yeah.
to get into, you know,
Yeah.
and I know we're running short on time. It's already 5:30. I mean, I've got a little bit more time. If you guys got a little bit more time,
I got time.
I got all the time. Like
Well-
like you said, flexibility, right?
Yeah,
that's
man.
why, that's why I do what
the
I do.
flexibility. Yeah. So let me ask you this then: as you started building your business, what is like? How do you market it? Because I know Jeff is pretty connected in the community. He does a lot of stuff around Monroe. He's very active with Facebook. Now you and Steph doing TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
That's the play right now. TikTok is the play for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And so if I'm new into any business, let's just use any business in general. What's the marketing platform that you would recommend or that you would suggest?
You can't miss social media. That you can't.
Right.
Like, if you're young, if you're older, you get to be on social media. I built my business strictly from social media.
Wow.
Legit. Like, yeah, that's it. Like you have to have some type of social media, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. And definitely you got to touch the people in the community. So what we do is we do turkey drives for Thanksgiving. We pass out free turkeys to the community. Last year we did about 50 to 100 turkeys with gift cards for families. You know, like it's rough times right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do Christmas. You know, we passed out probably in the last three or 4 years we passed out close to 5,000 toys to kids.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's
and then we
awesome.
do back to school drives every time, you know, it's back to school time. So I think and it's hard because it doesn't always reflect your business growth,
Right.
but it's like it's just that energy, man. Like
Yeah.
people don't ever forget that type of stuff.
No,
Right.
100%.
You know, so-
Yeah, we hear that quite a bit. Today I just did a drop-off delivery for a small factory down in Temperance, and you know, the shop manager came out, followed me out to my Jeep and shook my hand. He was like, "Man, we love what you're doing in the community. Like, it doesn't go unnoticed. I just want you to know." I'm like, "Oh, man," it's like, stop. Like, it's cool. Like, I just do because I do.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, I don't know if you can quantify what that translates to sales or you know, growth.
Yeah,
But
I don't even think about that, you know.
but that's just it. Like, if you're doing it for the right reasons, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? It just shouldn't matter. That's awesome. So then TikTok, man. I mean, what like how do you? What types of videos? What are you doing?
I don't use TikTok.
You don't
That's
use
why
TikTok?
I don't use it.
Just Instagram.
Yeah,
Okay.
just Instagram. I would love to start using
Yeah.
TikTok though, because that's the play right now. So like I said, I'm gonna learn.
We just started.
I'm gonna learn from Jeff.
Honestly, like what we do is Steph is a very creative mind, right? He really is. That's what I've noticed about him. And so we do things that are going to make people laugh, right? Because laughing translates to happiness, right? And they're like, wow, these guys are funny. I want to go hang out with those guys, right? So we've posted and posted and posted. And I get all the time, like, people will come to me like, yo, I know you. I seen you on TikTok. Because, you know, there's the For You page, right? So the For You page is like anybody, people in Tennessee could see it, right? It just randomly pops up. And I don't understand the algorithm on how you get on people's For You page. I just know we post them. They get a certain amount of views, and people are like, I've seen your TikToks. They're funny. That's actually why I came in here. Or they start to connect with you, you know, and they start to kind of follow your lifestyle, just like they follow, you know, the Kardashians or whatever,
right.
you know. So, and, you know, what's cool about it is you get to get your people involved, and that makes them more invested.
Yeah.
So,
So touching the people, you got to touch the people. On social media, people will feel like they know your life, you know, when you only show them what you want them to see. But then you got to go out into the community and touch the people.
Yeah.
And that's for any business that you're running. Like,
Yeah.
you know, people need to know you.
Right.
You know, people tell me all the time, like, yo, people come to the business to see you. And there was times where I wasn't there, and it was like, I can see the business dropping.
Yeah.
And then when I'm there, it's like, okay, I can see that, because people, when you put your all into something, and when you are the energy behind it, you can't shy away from that. People gotta feel that same energy. That's just how the world
I
works.
need to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with that statement, and I'm gonna say yes and no. Yes and no. I just had a great conversation with another chef here in town, and she said, Tino, you travel a lot. I said, I do. She said, how is it that when I come in here, I can't tell that you're not here? And I said, that's by design. Because if you have the right systems and processes in place, and you hire to a certain personality trait, I think you can still maintain that same energy level. I get messages when I'm in California, and people will be like, man, had dinner tonight. It was great. Thank you so much for an enjoyable evening. And I'm like, hey, no problem, man. I'm glad we could, I can't wait to cook for you again. So I think it's possible, but I think it's in the system and the process that you have in place. And again, it comes back to your core ideologies, right? If your team, if you're not hiring to a certain team member or a certain, value set, right? Then you're right. It's never going to be completely the same when you're gone because they don't have the same drive or energy. They don't really have the same buy-in to your business.
Yep.
But when you come to our place, you'll see, man, we just have a great, young, talented, energetic crew. And my belief, again, my job is to help them move up and on. I'm your glass ceiling. So unless you're going to buy into the business, this is as high as you're going to get, right? So it's my job to help you find, for instance, I had a young, talented chef, and he had reached that point where, he was like right under, he was bumping his head on the ceiling. I mean, he needed to be promoted somehow, but at my place, it wasn't going to happen. So I reached out to a buddy of mine in Detroit who has a phenomenal restaurant, and I said, hey, man, I got a super talented kid that I think would fit perfect with you. And he was like, man, you're willing to cut him? I said, I'm not cutting him. I'm promoting him because I'm sending him to you. And he goes, bring him up. And he worked there for a couple of years. Now he's a head chef somewhere himself. But in my opinion, that's what you have to do. And your team has to know that you're willing to do that for them.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. That's the big piece is having people around you who's going to like hold that same standard and same accountability. And like they treat it just like you treat it. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like they feel like it's theirs, like just as much as it's yours. So that's what we're working on right now. And, I'm still learning. I'm 3 years in right now. So I'm still learning, man. Yeah. And like I said, I'm here to learn and here to add value. So I'm going to be watching later on at the spot.
Come on.
Yeah. I'll be watching.
Yeah. When you come through, trust me, man, look at my kids, look at, Chris, I think of Chris, Jared, some of the guys that I have, some of the guys that I have in the kitchen that really just pour their all into what we do, man. And it's been incredible. It's been great.
That's a blessing when you got people like that.
100%.
Who are taking the business that you own in the same way. And that just shows a lot about you, So I definitely admire that. And that's something that I look up to for sure.
Absolutely. I actually, I'm gonna save my question. I'll let you go ahead.
No,
look
go
like
ahead.
You had some. Okay, I got a question. So, for the people who are out there who are business owners or they're looking to be business owners, so this is part one of the two-part question. Okay, how do you get your discipline?
Ooh.
How do you get discipline right? Okay, because I feel like, and this is almost me asking this for myself, there's seasons, right? There's your summer, you could be really motivated and, be doing things right, but there could be something that happens in your life and you start slacking and all that. And I think it all comes back to discipline. What is something you can, tell the viewers, tell myself, tell other business owners about how to get your discipline in check?
You only learn from doing. You only can you only learn from doing the things, and most people are hesitant when it comes to trying those things in order to learn what to be disciplined inside of. So, it's like if I put that $1 million on the table and I'm like, quick, grab 1,000, and you're like hesitant, and it's like you end up grabbing it, then you end up grabbing it because a lot of people won't grab that because they're like, I don't know where that money came from, or, I don't want your money.
Right.
Take the money. Okay. What are you going to do with that $1,000 now? Because I have another $1,000 waiting on you. So you go blow that $1,000 versus investing it or something like that. But like I said, the first step is just taking that. Yeah. Taking that step to grab it. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of people won't even take that step because, it's fear. They could be fearful of, becoming successful. Like that is what stops a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to fail. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do the most. I'm going to do things that people don't even think about doing because I know that there's something on the other side of the table. Yeah. So I think that's where you learn discipline the most.
Yes.
Where you fail. And I failed a lot. I've failed in my 26 years more times than somebody 40, 50 years old probably failed because I'm doing everything.
So I have to interject. Another great book, Black Box Thinking, Why Some People Learn from Their Mistakes and Others Never Will.
Okay.
Phenomenal
Yeah.
book. I'm a black box thinker.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I tell every new young entrepreneur, okay, again, you heard me say earlier, people see the 3 successful businesses I have. They didn't see the times I almost went bankrupt. They didn't see the failed businesses that I've had, and I've had some. I've had quite a few. But I'm a black box thinker. And what I mean by that is it's something I teach all my kids also that work for me, or that work with me. When we fall down, let's rebuild the plane. Let's figure out where engine 2 blew, and then let's figure out how to make sure that never happens again. And that doesn't mean it's not going to happen again because things happen, right? But what it means is we're going to be better prepared for when we see that engine start to smoke. Now, maybe I can put that fire out before it blows,
Yep.
Right.
so it doesn't get all the way there, right? Black box thinking, man. I love what you're saying. You have to fail in order to succeed. You have to. You have to.
Definitely. I love that. And that's why I was so thrilled about having you on, is because I knew it was going to be answers that weren't so surface level.
Yeah.
You go a little bit deeper, and I think that's huge. And I mean, there's so many people that can relate to that, So thank you for that.
Sure, bro.
The next part of this question is, what advice do you have for the guy that's been in it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, and it just hasn't happened yet? Other than just keep going. What is some
That's the
legit
thing.
advice?
So when I think about someone who hasn't became successful inside of Herbalife or inside of any business?
I would say inside of any business or anything that they're going after.
That's you got to work on yourself. A lot of people look outward. They start to look at, blaming. A lot of people will first blame, like if I say, yo, this podcast went terrible, I'm blaming you guys.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got to look at myself and say, you know what? This podcast is a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Like God has given people opportunity, right? And a platform to become successful. A lot of people don't look at themselves first. It's literally all a line. It's a line. Like business will only be as good as the person who's running the business.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
When you say like for someone who's been doing it 1, 2, 3, 4 years and they haven't been successful yet, yes, like just keep going, but you got to start to look at yourself and see where you can be better at so that you can grow your business, or you can attract someone to support you with growing your business, or where you can add value at to where somebody will say, I'm about to give this kid some game because I know he's going to carry the torch.
Yep.
Right.
Definitely.
And that's why like somebody like Meek Mill, for instance, where
I love Meek Mill.
he'll be popping for a while, and then he would take like he'll be just like, just cruising, but then he'll meet somebody like Mike Rubin or Robert Kraft, and then they give him the game or the resources to become more successful, is because they see that he has a value to add. So and a lot of people don't look inward. And I think that's the main like key to, growing and having compounding growth.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, like just to keep the progression up,
Wow.
and have compounding growth. And it's really just like an inward thing.
That's crazy you say that, because I was literally just having a conversation with somebody, and it was about their growth. And this person is almost 50 years old, and I'm listening to him talk, and I said, I got it. I said, you've never taken any type of self-accountability.
Bro.
Wow.
I said, you're almost 50 years old and you've never took accountable. I said, you've blamed, from this 30 to 40 minutes of me talking to you, you've blamed all these things, all these reasons, but you've never said, I'm the reason. I'm not getting up on time. I'm not showing up when I'm supposed to show up. And that just was reconfirmation, really, what you just said. And I was like, man, that's real. That is real.
Even if you're not saying it to other people, just
Yeah.
make sure you're telling yourself
Right.
so that you can actually go out and become better.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Because you don't give nobody else the room to point the finger at you.
Right.
When it's like, I'm already doing that. I'm already doing it to myself.
Yeah.
Don't self-sabotage yourself. but help yourself. Go
Yes.
obtain the resources and become better so that you can grow month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year.
Right.
You know, I only felt myself becoming not successful and not progressing when I became complacent and I didn't get enough resources to grow.
Wow. Yeah. No,
Gotta
man,
do my snapping fingers.
yeah,
I love that.
No, you know what? I completely agree. You know, I just had a conversation with a restaurant owner. She's had a restaurant for 5 years, and she came at me with that same, like, I'm not growing. I feel like I'm on a hamster on a wheel. I'm not da-da-da-da-da. And so we started having a conversation about where she's spending her money as far as advertising, marketing, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she's spending, I don't know, almost $2,000 a month on some garbage that's not working. And I said, well, why don't you take that $2,000 and just hire another employee? Because you're spending all your time working in the business, not working on the business. So why don't you take that $2,000, hire another employee? And she was like, well, that just doesn't make sense to me. Why would I do that? And I said, so you can actually work on growing your business.
Right.
And, you know, I think sometimes no matter how hard, what's the saying? You can lead a horse to water, right? But you can't make them drink, right? You can point it out to people, but, you know, I think it's hard sometimes for people just to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's easier, to your point, rather than looking at myself and what I'm doing wrong, or even taking that accountability for some of the things that I'm not doing, because I'm not getting up early. I'm not, you know, on my grind. I'm not actually working on the business. I'm just showing up every day, and it's become like more of a job.
Yeah.
Instead of those things, you know, they don't take the accountability. They don't, you know, and they begin to self-sabotage because of those things. You know what I mean? And it becomes easier to be like, no, man, it's his fault. Or the city doesn't like, you know, my food, or the people here, they don't understand what I'm trying to do. I'm like, and I tell my kids all the time at my restaurant, listen, man, if somebody has a bad experience, before I blame anyone else, I'm the leader of this pirate ship.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the captain, right? So I've got to look at myself and say, okay, well, did I train them right? Did I explain all the features and the special items that we have? Do they understand the ingredients that we have? Do they understand? Like, I've got to go through the checklist myself before I come to them and say, okay, man, you screwed up. No, man, I got to come to me first because I'm the leader of this pirate ship.
Yeah.
Right.
But I love what you're saying.
Thank you.
I mean, for a guy your age, this is where my mind is blown away. Like, listening to you two guys and the things that you're saying and talking about as an old entrepreneur. These are things I learned over time. Man, to be so young and to be this thoughtful about it, I can't wait to see where your business goes, man.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see where you go.
Thank you.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, not just the business itself, but you personally.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate that. Really do.
Yeah,
I really,
absolutely,
really do.
man.
You gotta be open. That's the number one thing. If you're not open, you're not gonna receive any blessings. You know? So
Definitely.
that's it.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Well, guys, I tell you what, for our first one, man, I think this was first off, it was great meeting you. So I told you we're going to come back around to this nickname.
Oh yeah.
I didn't forget.
Yeah.
So how did we get the nickname Hooter?
So you might be disappointed, and I'm honestly, yeah, and I don't know where you guys' head is with this and what you're thinking, but I might have to give you the real, because nobody knows. I haven't told nobody.
Oh man.
Oh,
okay,
man.
listen,
Hey,
this is
Boss
an
Talk.
exclusive.
Right,
Here
so
we
Boss
go.
Talk.
That's what
This is an exclusive.
Everybody asked me that, like, if you meet me, you're like Hooter. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So nobody knows why my name is Hooter, and I'm not going to tell y'all until we do part 2.
Oh, there we go. I love it.
Okay.
Hey, and listen, here's what I want to do. Part 2, I'm coming to Cleveland.
Let's
Yes.
do it.
We
yeah.
want to do this on location.
Yeah.
We want
All
to
right.
come to Cleveland.
Bet, yeah, we can set up. I got a nice spot out there.
Let's
We could do
go.
that. Yeah,
All right.
for
So
sure.
part 2. So we'll wait till part 2.
Yeah.
All right. But off the record, listen, when we turn all these mics off,
Yeah.
I'm going to squeeze it out of them.
Absolutely.
Well, man, Willie, Hooter, listen, I'm impressed. I really am, man. It's been a blessing. You know, you said something earlier, and I'm gonna sign off with this. You said something earlier about, you know, meeting people and things like that, and, you know, you were attracting people to you. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in divine appointments, divine interventions. I think God puts people in your path at the right times when you need them, especially if you're doing things the right way, you're living the right way. I do believe that the universe gives back what you give, what you put into it. But again, I do believe that, again, divine appointments, divine interventions, God is in charge. And man, I'll tell you what, it's been a blessing getting to know you, man.
Same.
I look forward
to be here.
Like growing our relationship,
Yes,
our
sir.
friendship.
You took the words right out of my mouth, for sure. Same. The same way.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Boss Talk. We're here. We believe LeBron James is the GOAT. We talk to bosses every day.
Negative.
Hey, all right. Hey, until next time, guys.
We out.
Yep.
Place Boss Talks, keep it uncensored, it's all hard. You could be for more walks, come tune in to Boss Talks. Got that all sport, optimal prime, ready to dominate.